organize this. So this is the public site. So this is a public site for an organization called Wholesome Harvest, the food bank. This is a demo site that we put together on our side, and we use it for demonstrating the software all the time. And the first thing you'll notice is it's got some branding. It's got a lot of meetings that are front and center. And I'll explain how these meetings end up on this particular page. There's a welcome message. So if you want to publish a welcome message to welcome either your board members or the public to come in and see, who are you, what are you about, it all goes into this section here. We have policies. So if you publish policies and you want the public to be able to see them, or some subset of the public to be able to see them, we have all of these policies here. And I'll get into each of these a little bit more here in a second. So this is a page that you're going to get a link to. So this link will be published as part of your account, and you can embed this wherever you would like. So you can link to it from a website, you can share it, you can publish it elsewhere, and it's going to allow anyone outside of your organization to come in and see whatever you've selected as public. So this isn't everything. This isn't an open window into your day-to-day workings, but it is a window into the things that you want folks to see. So if I were to look at our next meeting, which is the Q3 board meeting, I can actually come in and click on view agenda and details. And so if I'm in the public and I want to know, hey, what's going on, or when's the next school board meeting, or when's the next meeting for this nonprofit, I can actually come in and see all of those, but then I can also see the agenda if you've published it. So when you publish, it shows up here. One thing that we added, which is some additional functionality that again might be useful in, say, an in-person meeting, or perhaps in a meeting that you're holding outside of Boardable video, is this ability to have a full agenda. And the full agenda looks slightly different, but the interesting thing is it only goes one section at a time. So if you have a very long section, or a lot of discussion that's going to go on and there's a lot of data within it, this actually will come up and allow you to go piece by piece. If you have a fairly short agenda, it's going to all be visible here, and this actually will show the complete agenda. You can go to previous meeting or next meeting. But ultimately, the idea here is that when you publish the agenda, the public knows, or whomever you've given this link to, they know exactly what's coming up and what you're going to be discussing. So if you want folks to be able to look back at previous meetings, we have previous meetings on here as well. You can do that. You can go through and you can actually see that if minutes are published, these minutes are pretty basic, but you can see that the minutes are published here, and you could even have a video. So you could have the recording of that meeting available as well. And so that transparency really comes through. So this site is pretty straightforward, but you might be saying like, well, yeah, but how much work is it to really get this thing to look this way? Well, as part of your Boardable subscription, you can get access to this admin page. So this admin page is simply a separate page from board management. And this is the dashboard. And it's going to show all of the changes to the public page. It'll show you a site preview for the public page. It'll show you the upcoming meeting, but it can also show you all of the meetings that are coming up, and it'll list those out. We also allow you to see when were these materials published. So some of you might have a requirement, especially if you're in education, around, hey, 48 hours before the meeting, this has to be publicly posted. Well, we're going to show so that you have a record of, hey, was this published the full 48 hours in advance or not? And you can see the list, and you can also star these meetings, and starred meetings will appear on the homepage. So all of these meetings that are in the featured section are starred. So I can manage that very easily. We manage policies from here as well. So if I were to come in and click into governance policies and I want to look at this, I can actually go through and build out my policy document. So I can give it a code, I can give it an item name, I can put the content in. And then again, because it's very important to keep track of when these things are happening, we give an adopted, last revised, last reviewed. And obviously there are some easy formatting pieces that can come in as part of the editor. But all of this ends up being things that are, if it is published here, it can go to the live site. So these policies end up showing up here or underneath the policy section. And so maybe you only have one policy manual. That's totally fine. It would show under here. If you had multiple, then you'd be able to manage those as well. I think Probably the most interesting thing about the admin site is that the admin site allows you to disable your public site. So if you want to take it down for any reason, you can do that. You can change your header image. So your header image and your logo, you can see that that's what these two things up here are. And then we actually allow you to choose a theme color. So if I choose green and come down and save those changes, I can actually see those changes reflected here when I refresh this site, and everything's going to actually turn a little bit of a green. So we're just testing this out. So if you have a logo or if you have an image that really doesn't look great with green or blue, you could always come in and change that and make it, you know, the sort of yellow brown or orangish brown as well. We also allow you to put links at the bottom. So say you have links to other sites or partners or activities, we allow you to change any of these. In this case, it looks like there's somebody has mistakenly put a grilled cheese recipe into the links for this one. All you have to do is just delete that, save those changes, and on the next refresh, that site. So it's very customizable. You can change a lot of the look and feel. You can change the quick links. You can put in new address, phone number. And again, this gives a one-stop shop. So what I do want to point out though is this is actually the boardable organization for Wholesome Harvest. And I'm looking at a meeting. So you can see that this Q3 meeting is reflected in the public site. It was reflected in the admin site. The materials were published. So this agenda was visible in that last meeting on the public site. What I want to point out is there are many other meetings in here, and it's just a simple toggle to say yes or no. If I say no and save this, that meeting will disappear from the public site altogether. And so we definitely don't want you to publish a bunch of private meetings or committee meetings that you don't want to, but we want to make it very easy for you to go in and add a meeting. The difference here is that when you come to the admin site, these meetings, you're not going to really edit anything in here. All of this is going to go back to board management. And so it gives you basically a format for saying, hey, how would I actually go in and edit these meetings? You'd start and build your meeting just like you do every day. You don't have to do anything special. All you're going to do is check that it's public, and it will automatically be available to the admin site and the public site. And then as you move along and publish materials, that's all just going to take care of it itself. So once the site is set up, and it's very low effort to actually customize it, to upload your logo and your welcome message and things like that, it's basically going to take care of all of the publishing pieces for you. As long as you're going in and checking that meetings are public, you also can build an entire meeting and then publish it. So you can do this step last and not have any of the worry of like, hey, am I putting things out there that I shouldn't? So that's our public site. We, like I said, we've done this in conjunction with some of our education partners. They have a lot of requirements around public sites and publicly available meetings, agendas, policies, but there's utility across the board. So if you're interested in this at all, I would highly recommend reaching out, because there can be some real utility for you, even if you don't have a hard and fast requirement for it.
And just to reiterate, the great thing that I see in public sites, Cody, and correct me if I'm wrong, is this idea that you're already creating these materials over in Boardable, and you're really just able to then select the things that you want for transparency. So you're not having to like re-upload or create another site. It's
Correct.
really just that kind of push over to, hey, this should be public. We should let everybody see this. This shouldn't be public. And it takes a couple of quick steps, but enough steps that you're not just like accidentally doing a lot of things public, of course,
Correct.
that you don't want to. But I think that that's really the beauty is you're already doing these in Boardable. Let us also then kind of push this forward. And this site URL, it'll be your Boardable domain URL with the public sites piece. But you can link off to this from your current website. And so perhaps today somebody's having to go into WordPress and update this on a regular basis, or build this out for every meeting and all of those things. This can really take those steps away that you
One
might.
100%. And we do allow you to edit your custom URL, so you can make it whatever you would like. You can change your organization display name. Even if your organization is named one thing in Boardable, your public site can display a different name if that's important to you. And I will also say, this custom URL, you could even if you're not publishing it publicly, you could give it to a few board members who struggle to access materials. And, you could just say, hey, bookmark this site. And they're just going to have an easy way to be able to go and look and say, hey, these are the upcoming meetings. Here's the agenda for those meetings. At least they're preparing as much as possible if they struggle in some way, which we know some folks do. I would say the last but not least is, we're definitely more and more frequently doing things like an activity log. And so you can see in this case, if anything went wrong, it's clearly my fault because I'm the person that's been doing all the activities. But if you had a bunch of folks who were publishing meetings or changing things, you could really quickly go back in and identify, oh, hey, you're making a bunch of meetings public that we don't want to be public. So in the future, just set that to no. And so you can go through and actually check those things, and you can see, hey, is there a meeting that's been changed? Well, if there has, I can jump directly to it. So this is another step from a governance standpoint, a compliance standpoint. We really want to give you auditability as to what's going on. So that's everything on the public site.